That's Radha and Krishna dancing. But look at the beauty of how they caught the motion of them dancing in this sculpture. You know, it's amazing. I'm Jeff K.D. Meyers, MD, of the Yoga Master Teacher Training. I wanted to give you a little background about me so you can understand where the Yoga Master Teacher Training came from. Yeah, I guess that was the entrance. About 40 years ago, I was in New York. I had just graduated from college, and I was having a bit of an identity crisis. I didn't know what I was going to be or where I was going to go, but I was standing at the corner of 6th Avenue and 14th Street when I looked up and saw a glowing neon sign that said Yoga Center. And I decided to see what was there. I went in the door and walked up the 2 flights of stairs and knocked on the door, and who came to the door but this sweet man who ended up being Dharma. And who opened the door but Dharma Mitra, who invited me into his center for a yoga class. And I began a lifelong relationship with him. In the name of the Father, 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 in the name, in the name, in the name. Around the same time, I was also introduced to a Sufi teacher, Adnan Sarhan, who was introduced to me by a number of friends and went to some evenings that he was offering. From both these classes, I began to experience expanded states of consciousness that I never knew existed. And this began to ground me in an interest in spirituality that I'd never had before, and set the foundation for the rest of my life. I began to experience visions of deities, but I would push them away because I felt that anything that was created by the mind wasn't real. Which are archetypes, you know, so what these are symbols that can be portals to something transcendent. The end of seeking came for me in a way I would have never expected. My wife at the time and I had just attended a retreat where we experienced deep meditation states and resting in non-duality. But at the end of the retreat, I still felt disconnected, and I could continue to feel suffering that I'd had for so many years. We were riding in the car, so she pulled the car over and turned to me and said, "I want you to close your eyes." I closed my eyes, and she said, "What's there?" And I said, "Nothing." And she said to me, "What if that was it? What if that's what you've been seeking all along?" In that moment, I had an implosion of my consciousness that took me into resting in non-duality, and that's never left me since that time. A few years later, I had 2 more visions that had a huge impact on me. One was King David, and one was a vision of the Virgin Mary. At first, I pushed away these visions, again thinking that they were just creations of the mind. But the more I contemplated them, I realized that these were revelations of archetypal understandings that had major importance for me. The King David vision being understanding of the prodigal son's return to the Father, and the vision of the Virgin Mary being a union with the Divine Mother. I am marrying Maria. I am marrying Maria. Complete me, complete me, complete me. I began to have more and more subtle experiences and develop musical talent, which I never had before, which continues with me having songs come to this day. What a gift. I also began to have experiences of subtle awarenesses that paralleled things that I had learned through Tantra and Tibetan Buddhist texts. This all culminated in a massive Kundalini awakening that has continued to this day. Having these experiences put me in touch with a deeper part of myself and toward an understanding of the importance of embracing this life and the connection of this life to deeper understandings in relationship to what created us. The most important thing that I've learned is this: there are no rules to spirituality. Each one of us has our own unique personal path toward realization, and that there are learnable skills that we can master that can help with this.